Howdy friends, Dallas here with Privateer Press. Last time, we got a little taste of the bayou and gave our gator man some skin to live in. This time, we're going to feather in some detail and bring his headdress to life. So let's get started. To paint our feathers, we're going to do two different color feathers today. We're going to paint some black feathers and some white feathers. We got our little gator back from our previous episode. So I'm going to start out with some jackbone and frostbite mixed together. I'm going to go a little more frostbite than jackbone. Mix a nice warm blue. Something like that. Go a little heavier. I really like this color. We're just going to go ahead and use this as a base color for our white feathers. I'm just going to kind of pick whichever feathers I want to be white and base coat them in this color. So start out with this guy right here. Nice big feather right in the middle. And I think this one next to it. White feathers are a lot of fun to paint, so I'm going to make sure I got plenty of them on here. So when I'm thinking about these kind of things, I'm always thinking about which is going to look good together. So I think that kind of makes this one automatically black, this one automatically black. So let's make this one white. The black next to the white adds contrast and just makes it more visually interesting. By having two big chunks of white next to each other, we're going to have to make sure we delineate that line between them. So I think that's a good starting point. 3 white, 3 black. 50-50. All right, the very first thing we're going to do is shade the white feathers. And for that, I'm going to blend out some Bastion Gray. I'm just going to start down here at the base and pull that Bastion Gray up with our 2-brush blend. So I'm just going to work some of that down into the feather, down in the shaft. Give it a quick blend so it gets in all those little lines. And just use that also to draw that line in between these 2 white feathers to give us that contrast line. And another thing I like to do is give some feathers some variation. And I'm just going to paint a couple chunks in like a solid coat of the Bastion Gray. And this will be like little sections of the feathers that are a little more unique. So now I'm going to take some Ironhole Gray. We're going to apply another shade. We're going to keep this kind of minimal. Just getting those recesses. Just a bit of deeper shade, but not too much. Just adding that little bit of blue-gray to the white feathers. I'm going to go ahead and darken in those areas that I wanted to have a unique look to. Definitely the spine. Make sure that's nice and dark. Maybe accentuate a couple of the quill lines. We're going to take some Battlefield Brown and Exile Blue. Make a quick 50-50 mix for our deep shade. We don't need much of this. I'm just going to grab a quick brush full of each. A little water. Loosen that up. I'll put this a little more on the brown side than the blue side. So you get that nice brown tone to it. Seems pretty good right there. For this, we're just going to paint in to the deepest parts. So the spine, quill lines in the pattern get painted in nice and dark. Focus a little bit down here at the base of the feather. I'm also going to use this to divide our 2 feathers, our 2 white feathers from each other. Make sure you got plenty of water in your brush for this step. You want the paint to flow. You don't want it to wash. Find that sweet spot. And if there's anywhere you feel like could use a little more of your previous shade, you can always go back. I'm going to grab a little bit of my iron hole and I'm going to thin it down just a touch. I just want some of these quills separated a little bit more right there. Didn't really see it before. It's the joy of painting, kind of adapting and changing and seeing things that could be improved or better. So for our highlights on our white feathers, we're just going to take pure Minoth White Highlight. And once again, I'm going to make sure it's flowing, but not running. I'm just going to add some little highlights. Just make sure I got a good tip. Just highlighting the edge of those feathers. Just make sure the paint is flowing and not running. There's very little paint on the brush for these little tiny highlights. You just barely touching the model. So I'm going to take some iron hole and put it into the Minoth White highlight. Once again, just put a couple quick little highlights into those iron hole places. Nothing too dramatic. All right, let's move on to our black feathers. So we're going to start out with a nice coat of Thamar black. I'm just going to blacken in those feathers. Be careful not to get any on the feathers you've already painted. Don't want to erase all that hard work. Well, man, I'm going to go ahead and paint those ropes. When you're already doing something, and I know I'm going to need those ropes black later for painting the ropes, so I've already got the Thamar black out. Might as well do it. It saves me a step later. I'm going to slide my brush tip right in between there to make that little nick pop out. All right, so I'm going to paint these black feathers in about 2 steps, but we're going to start with our favorite color, coal black. Once again, I'm going to get this on my brush. I'm going to get it flowing but not running. And I'm just going to paint the lines in the feathers, focusing on the edge. So you're basically just highlighting. I'm going to do less coal black the further down the feather I go. That way it keeps more of the feather at the low end black. It kind of gives that look of the feathers moving and catching highlights. Here is being blocked by light, so I'm going to focus my coal black here, on this edge, and then just put a little coal black up underneath there, just a couple of dots. I'm going to just give another once over real quick, make sure there's anywhere I don't feel like I missed. All right. I'm going to take a little underbelly blue. I'm just going to mix just a touch of that into my coal black. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to paint the edges, creating little highlight lines, just wherever the light's going to catch my feathers. Sometimes you just got to turn your guy way over, kind of hitting from a different angle to get those hard to reach spots. That's okay. That looks pretty good, but I'm going to add one more highlight with pure underbelly blue. I'm going to keep this very small. Once again, I'm going to have my paint flowing, not running, out of my brush. I'm just going to just touch the tips of those feathers, just where I want some nice highlights. Gives a little more contrast, a little more visual interest. And there you go. That Gator Man's headdress is ready to go, and he is ready to fight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more videos and check out the links in the description below for more in this series and some additional information on that P3 hobby line. Give me my Cheetos! Where my gumbo at?